Hey guys, this is Gaijin Hunter and welcome to my top 5 weapon series from Monster Hunter Generations. In this video we'll be taking a look at my top 5 favorite longswords. Note that in Monster Hunter Generations there are dozens of final form weapons that cover everything you can possibly want, from every element to slots, no slots, good sharpness, bad sharpness, you name it. So finding the best of the best is actually an impossible task. These are just the personal favorites that I used and I really enjoyed, so if you're having any trouble coming up with some endgame goals, maybe this can give you a hint. Go ahead and let me know down in comments which weapons that you found to be your favorite to give everybody else some more choices. Okay, let's jump in. Okay, first up, and you knew it was coming, was the Hellblade Glavenus weapon called the Blistering Govandan. Govandan, that's an interesting word. It sports 200 attack, 5% affinity, and 25 blast. As you guys know, blast is really good. So it also has the natural white. Of course, it does look like it doesn't have much, but if you pair this with the common hunter art, which allows you to do an absolute evade and sharpen your weapon, you can maintain this throughout the hunt. The next up is the Cimsonfork. This is from the Uragan series, and it's actually a pretty low rarity weapon. As you guys know, I'm really big into the blunt skill, which gives you bludgeoning, which gives you pretty much attack up medium for only 10 points on your armor, which is really good. At 240 attack, it's hard to find something this powerful raw, and you also get a nice plus 40% defense, allowing you to be a little bit more reckless than you might normally do. Note that you do want to pair this with Mind's Eye, probably depending on the monster you're going at. And you'll notice a common theme in my top 5 videos that the all-arounder seems to be the Hellblade Glavenus, and the pure raw attack is generally going to be the Grimclaw Tigrex, and that's no exception here. The Grimclaw Cutter sports 200 attack with really nice white natural sharpness, and also 10 affinity to boost. And remember, using a deviant weapon will charge your hunter art gauges by 25% faster than the normal weapons, and the longsword has 3 of the best hunting arts in the game, so it makes a lot of sense that I would choose deviant weapons. Next up is another fan favorite, which is the Sedegios, the Zealous Sedition. Now please note there are 2 versions of the Sedegios weapons. There are the normal ones and also the hyper ones. This is the hyper version. It sports 180 attack, 20% affinity, and has 2 slots, which really gives you a lot of freedom to do whatever you want, because if you notice the sharpness, you don't need sharpness plus 1, so all around versatility, this is a great one to do. And finally we have the Deepest Night, which is the regular Narga Kuya longsword, not the deviant version. This one has 180 attack, so it's a little bit lower, but it does have 40% affinity and 2 slots. So this is really similar to the Sedegios weapon you saw before. What you're pretty much doing is you're trading a little bit better sharpness, and you're trading 20% affinity with the Sedegios weapons for the ability to naturally resharpen it. But if you just want to go at it with high affinity, for example you're using an elemental weapon or you're using ultra crit, then this may be the right weapon for you. And like all the other top 5 videos, those are my top personal 5, and here comes 2 honorable mentions. First one up has to be the Wyvern Blade Flame. This, unfortunately, you cannot make yet. It's actually tied to the Hyper, Silver Rathalos, and Golden Raytheon parts, but when it does come out, it's a fine weapon, especially if you can pair it with Sharpness plus 1 or Sharpness plus 2. 190 attack, 10% affinity, 40 fire. Whew! It's also a classic weapon that's been in a lot of Monster Hunter games, so I think fans of the longsword are going to want this in Generations as well. And the last honorable mention goes to the Dancing Hellfire. This is from the Ignactor. It's 180 attack, 25% affinity, and 35 fire, so it's also very solid. But if you manage to have a set with sharpness plus 1 or 2, look at that white. If you're going up against anything that's weak to fire, I definitely like this as my staple weapon, although it may not be as all around useful as the other top 5 that I chose, but does get the honorable mention. And there you go. Let us know down in comments what other longswords you like. Again, there are dozens of final endgame weapons and tons of different good ones, especially ones for elemental types, which I don't normally include in my top 5 because it would just be a top 6, like the best one for each elemental. And there's no right answer, so like this video if you liked it, subscribe if you haven't already, and look forward to my other top 5s. And until next time, happy hunting.